Coming up on Mountain News this morning, a Veterans Affairs clinic was on alert last week after a man threatened the staff. And it's important to cook safely this year as folks prepare their Thanksgiving turkey.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Good morning and thanks for joining us. I'm Madison Carmouche. We are nearing 6 o'clock this Wednesday morning and today is November 27th. Let's check in with meteorologist Megan Dusmall for a look at your forecast this morning. Megan, it's hard to believe we're at the end of November. Thanksgiving is tomorrow and we barely got any cold weather until last week.
That's very true. When you said November 27th this morning, I almost didn't believe it was that late. But the temperatures are starting to reflect that. I mean, today we're just a little bit warmer than what we normally would expect here in Eastern Kentucky. However, that is going to change as we're heading into the next couple days. We're going to see a significant drop from normal. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's look at those current temperatures outside of the door right now. In Hazard, 34 degrees, and it feels right at that mark because nothing much is going on in terms of wind. Very calm winds this morning. And as we continue to look at those current temperatures across the area, we'll see those cold temperatures all over. 30s really taking over the area. 40 degrees as you're heading to London. But other than that, it's just a cold morning. But we will be warming up to the forecast highs again, just a little bit above normal. Our normal temperature is about 53 for this time of year, and we're just seeing a little bit warmer than that. But those temperatures will continue to drop throughout the next couple days. And by the time next week rolls around, our high temperatures will be in the low 30s. But as we go through the next 12 hours, we'll continue to see that temperature trend warm up. And by the time that 3 p.m. hour rolls along, that's when you're going to see the high temperature for the day, 56 degrees. And then it'll continue to stay warm until we go into tomorrow's highs. Madison.
All right, Megan, thank you. A Pike County man was arrested last week after officials say he threatened to shoot people at the Prestonsburg VA clinic. WYMT's Buddy Forbes spoke to deputies about answering the call across county lines.
A Friday morning call warned the Floyd County Sheriff's Office of a potential threat to a Prestonsburg medical clinic.
The information that we received was that he had a firearm on his person and that he intended to cause harm to employees at the VA clinic.
Deputies say Roberts Maynard, 57 of Pike County, was on his way to the Veterans Affairs outpatient clinic in Prestonsburg, and they believed he had intentions of shooting people at the clinic.
Once Post 9 gave the information to Prestonsburg 911, we had deputies located in different points on 23. Prestonsburg Police Department had officers at the VA clinic in case he made it all the way to the VA clinics.
Maynard was intercepted passing through the Ivel community in the passenger seat of a Jeep, where deputies say he resisted arrest, cursing and screaming while refusing to obey orders.
He wouldn't show his hands. He kept telling them that they would have to kill him today.
The arrest citation claims the driver of the vehicle told officers Maynard had a handgun in his pocket. And during the efforts to detain Maynard, deputies say he became increasingly combative.
While they were trying to get him in custody, he did kick one of the deputies, so he was also charged with assault, third degree, of a police officer.
Deputies say they found a loaded .38 revolver in the passenger floorboard of the Jeep, saying Maynard eventually told them he had only planned to take the gun into the clinic and shoot at the ceiling, with the driver claiming Maynard told him, quote, "Today the VA will hear me."
Yeah, our deputies receive a lot of training on de-escalation and keeping themselves safe. So that was a very bad situation that could have turned out different, but thankfully everyone was safe.
Maynard was charged with public intoxication, disorderly conduct, assault of a police officer, and terroristic threatening, and is expected to appear in court December 2nd for a preliminary hearing. In Floyd County, Buddy Forbes, WYMT Mountain News.
We reached out to the VA for a statement but have not heard back yet. If you or anyone you know is a veteran in crisis, you can call 988 and press 1 for the Veteran Crisis Hotline. A University of Pikeville cheerleader is dead following a crash in Wayne County, West Virginia. The Wayne County Sheriff says the crash happened along Route 52 yesterday morning near the Stone Coal intersection and involved a large truck. 19-year-old Kennedy Mullet was killed. She was a graduate of Martin County High School where she cheered and played basketball. There is no word yet on what caused the crash. A teenager is dead and another injured after hitting a bear in Campbell County, Tennessee. Officials say it happened Saturday night when a bear walked in front of a truck driven by a 16-year-old. Officials say the teen was unable to avoid the bear and hit it with the front bumper. The driver was killed and a passenger, also 16 years old, was hurt. No other information was released. The Laurel County Sheriff's Office says they arrested a woman who scammed people through a fake photography business in Laurel County. They say Dakota McKenzie Burns claimed to run a business called Kinsey Burns Photography. They say she would take payments for services but then never show up. The Sheriff's Office says at least she scammed at least 11 people out of more than $8,000. Burns is charged with theft by deception. A Kentucky judge is temporarily blocking protections for some farm workers. The H-2A visa program is the center of the case. It allows farmers to hire foreign workers when they cannot find Americans to fill jobs. The rules would set new safety standards for those workers. They would also ban employers from retaliating against workers for meeting with union reps or lawyers. Attorney General Russell Coleman's office called the rules government overreach. Kentucky Attorney General Russell Coleman filed a new lawsuit against opioid distributor Optum Rx. The lawsuit accuses Optum Rx of being one of the pharmaceutical companies responsible for the opioid crisis. In a release, the Attorney General blasted Optum Rx and other companies, saying, quote, "These groups pushed a profit-fueled agenda at the expense of Kentucky families who are left with empty seats at the dinner table. Our office will continue to hold those behind the drug crisis accountable for their devastating actions," end quote.
We have that much colder morning today, but as we continue to go throughout the rest of your day, we will see some improvement. So if you don't like those temperatures this morning, it's okay. We're going to get better. Let's take a look at those current temperatures where you can see we're mostly in the 30s. So a coat is a requirement as you're leaving the door this morning, but those temperatures will thankfully be warming up ever so slightly. We're looking in the mid to upper 50s for today, just a little bit warmer than you would expect for this time of year, and that will continue to be the trend. But as we're going through the next couple days, you cannot expect these temperatures to stick around as we are going to get colder as we're heading towards the weekend. High temperatures on Monday looking to be the coldest at 32 degrees. The rest of the days will be warmer than that, thankfully. But as you're going through the next couple hours, you can really expect to see those clouds, but the chances for rain will ramp up as you're going in the evening and overnight hours. Madison.
All right, Megan, thank you. Millions of Americans will spend a big portion of Thanksgiving in the kitchen getting the meal ready, but safety experts say it is important to remember there is a major risk of fire this time of year. CBS News correspondent Christine Lazar has some tips on how to stay safe.
Earlier this year, dozens of people had to evacuate this apartment complex in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, after several units went up in flames. Authorities say the fire was started when a resident left food cooking on the stove unattended. The Consumer Product Safety Commission says of the 352,000 home fires every year, 45% are cooking related. When are kitchen fires most prevalent?
They're really most prevalent right around Thanksgiving. That is the day that we see the most fires, about 1,400 on average.
Alexander Hohen-Sarek is chair of the Consumer Product Safety Commission and says stove fires are often caused when grease ignites. This demonstration from the Orange County Fire Authority shows what can happen if you try to put it out with water.
When you put water in a grease fire, it will actually explode and blow up.
Chief Brian Fennessy says the best way to put it out is to cover it with a lid to kill the flame or use a fire extinguisher.
If you've got a fire extinguisher available, know where it is, know that it's charged.
Deep frying a turkey is also popular this time of year, but can cause an explosion if oil spills out and ignites. Using a turkey that is not properly thawed is also dangerous.
I deep fry my turkey every year, but I also make sure that if I'm going to be frying, it's away from the house, not on a porch. Don't do it in a garage. Don't use a frozen turkey.
Sarek says no matter how you're cooking, the key is to pay attention.
It's really important to stay there, watch the pans, and make sure that there aren't little kids running around, somebody who's going to knock over a pan or knock over grease and just start a fire.
Some simple precautions can make sure your family remains safe this holiday. Christine Lazar, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Thanks for joining Mountain News this morning. More news is on the way. A child care center coming to EKU is offering an opportunity for people to parent and get an education.